Hello, my name is Clayton, and welcome to episode 127 of the Watch Down podcast. I'm a professional dog runner and watch enthusiast talking to his pals about dogs and watches. How's everyone doing? Thank you so much for listening. You know I appreciate it. Well, no matter what you celebrate, I certainly hope you had a wonderful and fulfilling holiday season. We celebrate everything here. So it just is a reminder of how lucky I am in life. Christmas Day, for example, I'm an orphan. My wife is an operating room nurse. We don't have kids, so she typically works, major holidays. She works Christmas. A lot of her coworkers have young kids. So, yep, she's happy to work a full 12-hour day on Christmas Day. So that leaves me to fend for myself. And I had two very special, wonderful friends take me in on Christmas Day. One was a Christmas brunch, and that was amazing. And then my neighbor Mario, every year now for several years, invites me to be a part of his family Christmas. And of course, my family back in Michigan, who I saw at Thanksgiving, talked to them. Just a reminder that, man, I have so many people that I love and that I know love me. And to steal a line from Pearl Jam's Just Breathe, I'm lucky enough to count on both hands the ones I love. Some folks have one, others have none. So yeah, don't take any of that for granted. I paraphrased that line a little bit, but that's the gist. Don't take for granted all the wonderful people you have in your life. And I was also very fortunate to get so many generous gifts this holiday season, and lucky enough to be able to give gifts as well. So it's not just about getting, receiving. It's also about giving, making people happy, and to show them how much you care about them. So, all right, enough of that mushy stuff out of the way. Outside of that one weird dream I had, oh God, that I told you about, it was really a wonderful holiday season. I did get some gift cards for the holidays. Very lucky again. So yesterday, my wife and I went shopping a little bit to spend some of the gift cards that we got. And I did not get a gift card to a watch store, but that didn't stop me. I had to go in anyway to our local authorized dealer. We hear all the time about the state of the watch industry right now. And our authorized dealer outside of Providence recently built on. And now everything but Rolex has its own section. A whole beautiful watch store. We went to the Grand Seiko party there last year. It's really well done. And I think their customer service has come a long way. It's always a little intimidating to go into many authorized dealers, really. But this one in particular, I always thought like you're being looked down on the second you walk in the door. I think the vibe is different, and a lot of it has to do with the new space, I think. But they have knowledgeable, chatty sales reps who are happy to spend time with you and talk, and that was really neat. But no one was in there, like 4 salespeople, no customers browsing, and they had a lot of watches. I mean, Tudor section, they had any desirable Tudor model that you want. They even had one of the Lagoon Blue watches that I'll be talking about in a little bit that my wife and I bought together this year. She, of course, came on the podcast with me, and we talked about co-owning a watch together. They had that one. They had, all the new Black Bay 58 releases from this year, the GMT, the Burgundy, which my wife did not care for. She did not like that color. Then, Breitling, a lot of other Breitling. They had Nomos. They did have the Nomos World Timer, the silver version, which is the standard model. And then Grand Seiko. They didn't have a ton of Grand Seiko. Maybe they're just scaling back what they offer. I remember, other times I've gone, they seem to have a lot more offerings. But what they did have, and what I wanted to talk about today, the UFA. I believe it was number 5 on Keith's end of year list. A 37 millimeter spring drive watch, the UFA, the titanium version, the first Grand Seiko 3-hander. I know they have micro adjust on their sports models and some GMTs and divers and such, but this was, kind of their traditional watches, but with micro adjust, on the fly micro adjust 37 millimeter titanium, and a brand new version of Spring Drive that's accurate to plus or minus 20 seconds per year, I believe. Finally got to try one on. The size put me off, and that's one of the reasons, and I mentioned that in the episode, that's one of the reasons it did not make my end of year list. And they actually had both versions. Keith and I mentioned that they released an Ever Brilliant steel model as well. 37 millimeters, a purple dial that did not have the micro adjust, just had the regular clasp that most three-hand Grand Seikos have. And we both thought that was kind of curious. If you're calling it UFA, you'd think you'd like to keep all the characteristics consistent across the line. They did not do that, but that's okay. So yeah, I tried them on. The titanium UFA, it's awesome. And, I don't have the exact lug-to-lug measurement, but for my 7-inch wrist, I thought it wore great. The lug-to-lug's a little longer. I think it's a little longer and wore a little bigger than my 38 millimeter The Citizen. I think, correct me if I'm wrong, on The Citizen, the lug-to-lug's like 43. So it wears pretty squat. This is definitely longer than 43. I might be wrong on that, but it felt longer anyway. The size would not put me off buying that watch at all. 37 millimeter, but yeah, has some presence for sure. Super light. And then I also tried the purple UFA in Ever Brilliant steel. I'm not sure if he was being truthful or not, but the guy helping me at Grand Seiko there said that he owns the purple. And he wears it every other day. He alternates with the Shunbun, which is what he was wearing yesterday. Also a beautiful watch. Now, the purple is steel, and I thought it felt great again on my wrist. But that Ever Brilliant steel, now I owned the SLA 043, which had the Ever Brilliant steel, 62 Moss diver, but did not have a bracelet. That only came on rubber strap. I believe this may be my first time seeing a full case and bracelet Ever Brilliant steel watch. It pops. It's so white compared to regular stainless steel, and especially titanium, which kind of has that darker tone a little bit. So I was really impressed. And the purple is not overwhelming. It almost looked black in the store lighting there. I mean, I tried to get a picture and I still really couldn't capture how purple it is. Now, maybe in sunlight, it's going to look more purple, but in the store lighting on kind of a cloudy, overcast day, it looked black. It did not look, super colorful. So if the purple scared you and maybe the titanium just isn't your thing, try it on. That's again why it's so important to try these watches on. A release I completely disregarded because of size worked dang good on my wrist. I love both versions. Now, there's one thing that puts me off of that watch, and that's the price. I believe they're $11,400 US. Even trying it on, and I know it's super accurate now. I mean, I've said it before, the Spring Drive and the SNR I have is crazy accurate, and that's only rated to plus or 15 seconds per month. Plus or minus 15 seconds per month, I should say. This is rated to plus or minus 20 seconds per year, if I could talk. So yeah, pretty impressive. But it's just not worth that much money to me. I know people have to buy them so they get out on the secondary market. I'm not sure how much of a depreciation they'll take. Even if it's 8,000 or 9,000, I'm still not sure I value it that much to buy one. But I'm sure there are plenty of Grand Seiko fans out there who are buying them new, who are buying them pre-owned, and try it on. But you know what? If you're buying blindly, I think you'll be okay with the size if your wrist is 7 inches. But was happy to finally get to try those on. Went to Saltzman's, their other location in Rhode Island, not the main one in Newport. They have another location in Cranston, Rhode Island. I wanted to see the titanium PRX models and also the Damascus steel PRX models. Unfortunately, they did not have either in stock. Saw that Call of Duty Hamilton. That was kind of disappointing. It looked just like a regular Hamilton. Didn't really look much different from any of their other field watches that I could tell. Did see the 38 millimeter Murph. Oh, I love the Murph. I was reminded of how much I enjoyed the 42 millimeter. It was just a little too big. They had the white dial, which looks sharp, the standard edition, and then on the bracelet as well. Oh, they're such a great release. But did not buy anything, but it was cool to get out and check out some watches, as always. So, yeah, again, just a reminder here as we head toward the new year, before you slag on a watch, try it on. Or if you've made up your mind about a watch but haven't seen it in person, yeah, be ready to have your mind changed for sure. That's why I'm trying to reserve judgment on the Planet Oceans. Hopefully get to see those in the next couple of weeks. I definitely want to make a trip to the Omega authorized dealer around and try them on because I feel a certain negative way about them right now. But again, open to having my mind changed. Okay, let's get to the main topic. 'Tis the season for us content creators to produce state of the collection episodes, right? Whether it be YouTubers or podcasters, we all do it. I wanted to do something a little bit differently this year. I wanted to just basically give my state of the collection by how many times I wore each watch. And I now use the Wrist Track app. I've never been a big spreadsheet guy. I did it manually forever. I would write down on a calendar, an old-fashioned calendar, what watches I wore. I usually wear 2 a day. I'll wear a work watch, which I'm really not going to include here. It's just a bunch of G-Shocks, the Shinola. I wore the Shinola 40 times. We'll get that in. But otherwise, it's just G-Shocks. It's not that interesting, and they are more functional. I think my regular rotation in the evening then, that's the second watch of the day. When I get home from work, I put on one of my nicer watches. I think that's a little more by feel, and probably those end of year wear numbers are a little more interesting than the more strict rotation I have with my work watches. So I think that's why we'll skip the work watches. But yeah, so in July, I started using the Wrist Track app. It has a bunch of nifty stats. I talked about it on a previous episode earlier in the year, probably around July or August. I can't remember which number now, unfortunately. But yeah, so we'll go through. I'll tell you how many times I wore the watch. How many watches did I buy this year? I think I bought 4.5. Obviously, the half watch is the Tudor Black Bay 54 Lagoon Blue. I mentioned it a little bit ago. Saw one yesterday in the authorized dealer. And of course, I'll mention it again here in a little bit. So yeah, that's a half a watch. My wife and I split the cost, and we split the wear. Neither of us reach for it that much. And I think in January, I actually want to do an episode on why I get bored of Tudor watches, and I think why a lot of people do. Why they seem to be a sacrificial lamb for many when they are selling their watches, right? But yeah, I think that's an episode I'll hold off on until January, gather my thoughts about that a little more. But yeah, they give, and again, I talked all about this, but there's a wrist recap, there's wear stats, there's a cost per wear. So I won't go too deep in that. And then, yeah, we'll give that. And then I'll give a little state of the podcast, maybe tell you the most downloaded episode. It's different actually on YouTube. This podcast gets released as a YouTube video as well. The RSS feed goes to YouTube. It's not a video. It's just the logo, static logo, and then it plays the duration of the podcast. A lot of people are more used to ingesting content on YouTube than maybe Spotify or Apple Podcasts, whatever it might be. So it's just another convenient way for people to take in the podcast. Numbers were quite different on there in terms of which episodes were the most popular, but we'll go into that, and then maybe my plans for the podcast coming up. And then I know Keith and I think next week are going to do a 2026 hope and prediction episode. So we'll kick off the year right. And then we'll get back into regular content. I know the last month or so has sort of been holiday focused and end of year focused. We'll get one more prediction episode in 2026, and then we'll get to more fun, creative stuff again. I promise you. All right. So let's just go down the line here on the Wrist Track app. Wear stats. All right, the Seiko SNR 045. Talk about that watch all the time. I bought it in April of 2025. I have worn it 59 times. The last time I wore it was December 21st, 2025. Just a great watch. I wore it a bunch when I first got it. As the summer wore on and the fall months came on, I didn't wear it nearly as much. But you know what? And I've even flirted with selling it. But I think I'm going to keep it around for a while. Every time I think of selling it, I look at it and I put it on, and it's just the big boy Seiko diver I've searched for since I've been in the hobby. owned a couple Marine Masters and struck out with the weight on those. So this being titanium and spring drive and limited edition, the dial is decorative. It has these little green Christmas tree looking things that actually are supposed to be reminiscent of a little like evergreen forest on the bottom of the Arctic Ocean, I believe, which is interesting. So yeah, this watch is really special. I've posted it on my Instagram before. All right, so maybe I won't be as crass as telling you what I paid for it, but the cost per wear, wearing it 59 times, is $59.32. So if you really want to figure out what I paid for it, you can do the math on that. But yep, just a great watch. And I think it's going to end up being my third most worn watch of the year. All right, next. And these are all watches I still have in my collection. I sold some watches as well. I'll touch on those, but not important to give you the wear stats on those, I don't think. The Nomos Club Sport Neomatic World Timer Dune. I wore it 36 times this year. I think I finally received it at the end of June, early July this year, even though I put the order in at Watches and Wonders when Jay, my sales rep at Topper, was in Geneva for Watches and Wonders. When these came out, I immediately texted her and said, I need one of these. Jungle was my first choice, already spoken for, but the Dune was my second. I was able to get it. I mean, I've waxed poetic about this. Not much more needs to be said. Really neat complication in a thin package. Goes with a number of straps. I think it just fell victim to the fact that I got it a little bit later in the year. And of course, after September, my Lions watch dominates my wear time. So now that I have, 9 months until I need to wear my Lions watch again, more or less, because they stink. I'll be wearing the Club Sport Neomatic a lot this year, and it will probably be a contender for most worn watch in 2026, I have a feeling. All right, next, the Gruna Manual 1. I've talked about this watch. I think I did an episode on it a little bit. Side projects, if you will. Grunfeld, Bart and Tim. They are independent watchmakers, very expensive watches. They start at what, $35,000 or $40,000. This is their affordable brand. Many others have done this as well. MB&F has the Mad 1, affordable. Many of the MB&F watches, of course, are unreachable for the common man. So they do the Mad 1. Same idea here. I believe I paid about $2,500 for Bart's one. It's the one I have. It's their second line of releases. The first one was named after their dad. I'll put a link to it in the show notes if you can't picture what they look like. Bart's one is all salmon, and that's the one I bought. There were 150 of that one and then 150 of Tim's one. And I wear it. I've worn it a lot around the holidays. Every time I think about selling it, it's going to stick around. I'm not sure it's a forever keeper, but I think it's going to stick around. It's just so special. And I love the way it looks on my wrist. I actually went out last week with a couple friends, and played pinball. One of the friends I was with is a really good pinball player. He's a pro. It was fun to watch him, but they looked at the watch and they're like, this really looks nice. I wore it with I wore it actually with that red cashmere sweater that I was telling you about in the gift guide a few weeks ago. And man, it really just popped with that. And I don't wear it all the time. It's more of a special occasion watch, but I don't mind that. I sneak it in. I'll probably get it in regular rotation this winter. And also goes well with several straps as well. So yes, 19 times. I anticipate that number will go up in 2026. It'll be interesting to see. And I think I'll keep it the whole year. Of course, subject to change. Number 2, in terms of how many times I wore it, the Rolex Air King, 66 times. Counting today. Today will be the last time I wear it this year. I'm recording this on the 28th of December. So what can be said? It's just a badass tool watch. I put some new marks on it this year. I wiped out in it a couple different times while I was out hiking. I shoveled snow in it yesterday. At this point now, it looks a little wabi-sabi. It's really coming into its own as my watch. I just feel a connection with it. It just goes on my wrist. Fit is perfect. Never have to adjust it. Never have to do anything. I just wear it. No matter the weather, It just sits perfectly on my wrist, and I can't wait to put more and more scratches on it. It's still keeping impeccable time. This year, now in 2026, Labor Day weekend, it'll be 4 years since I've owned it. So, yep, it's really a stalwart in my collection at this point. So, yes, 66 wears this year, the Rolex Air King. Now, if I were to have bought the Air King this year, which I didn't, but if I did, cost per wear would have been $112.12. But considering I've worn this watch a bunch over the last few years, that cost per wear must be under $100 at this point. Now, in the WristTrack app, you can go and enter, how many times you wore a watch in 2024, 2023. I just haven't done it yet. But maybe if I have some time in the next week, I will go through and really have a comprehensive look at my cost per wear on all these watches that I've owned for multiple years. All right, here we go. The number one winner in terms of how many times I wore it, the Breitling Chronomat B0142 NFL Detroit Lions edition. Wore it 101 times. So here was my strategy. I did wear it a bit in the off season, but as soon as the NFL football season started in September, it really dominated wrist time. If the Lions, I would wear it every game day, and then if the Lions won, I would wear it until the next game. If they lost, I would not wear it until the next game day. Wore it for every Detroit Lions game day. Unfortunately, they only have won 8 games, and they've lost 8 games. So still got 101 wears this year, which I feel is pretty dang good. Again, I did not buy this watch this year. I bought it in 2024. But if I did buy it this year, it would have a cost per wear of $84.16. So with how many times I've worn that cost per wear is way down. Again, I will probably enter my 2024 wear stats for this at some point. But yep, if I had to get rid of every watch in my collection, I think this would probably be the one that stuck around. My family thinks it's cool. They all loved seeing it at Thanksgiving because I've talked about it so much. And I think it'll be a hand-me-down to my nephews, one of my nephews in particular, who is a huge Lions fan. I think it will mean a lot to him to get it one day. So, yes, hopefully it has more than 101 wears next year. That will mean the Lions won more than 8 games. They have one more game left. I don't feel great about their chances to win that game. All right, next, the Tudor Black Bay 54 Lagoon Blue. We got this in August, I believe. I've only worn it 13 times. For whatever reason, once the football season started and the colder weather crept in, I just reached for it way less. I wore it last week 3 times. So I'd only worn it 10 times in, 4 months. 3 of those wears have been in the last week. I'm reminded of how great it fits. It's the Black Bay 54. What is that? 37 millimeter. A 37 millimeter dive watch is going to wear smaller than a 37 millimeter 3-hander like the UFA. So just keep that in mind. So yeah, I mean, my wife doesn't reach for it that much either. And I don't really know why. That's why I want to gather my thoughts and do an episode on it, because I think it'll be interesting to explore why we don't reach for it a ton. I mean, the bezel action is second to none. 60-click bezel. I mean, Citizen's pretty good. This bezel action on this particular Black Bay 54 Lagoon Blue that we own, it's just incredible. It's so fun to play with. The 5-link bracelet is great. The T-Fit micro adjust clasp, amazing. Maybe it's too good. Maybe, is that the problem with Tudor watches? They're like so good. They're boring. Like maybe we like a little something to complain about with our watches. I don't know. Maybe we thrive on that negativity, and when there isn't any, it's just like, I'm not going to reach for that one. It doesn't stimulate me enough. I don't know. But it is comfortable. It does look $1 million. That textured dial, sort of granular sand blue dial. It's kind of a Tiffany blue, I guess. It's probably, I would argue, the most interesting dial Tudor has ever done. I don't remember them doing anything quite that interesting before. Looks kind of Grand Seiko-y even. And then the stainless steel bezel. But I won't have to tell you the price because I'm sure you know it. We have a high cost per wear on this one. 167.31 is the cost per wear. because I don't wear it that much. However, I only did pay half price because we split the watch. So that if you are willing to go in on a couple's watch with your wife, more likely is she willing. If she is willing, you get a cool watch and you only have to pay half. So yeah, I get to wear a Black Bay 54 that I only paid half price for. So that's pretty cool. All right, we're narrowing down. I really don't have that many watches in my collection. Only 2 left in my main collection. The Space One Destro Forged Carbon Jumping Hour. Now, I got this in mid-October. I've only worn this 8 times. Again, the Breitling Lions watch dominates wrist time. So I've only got this in 8 times. I talked a little bit about it a couple episodes ago. It's a funky spaceship looking watch. It's a jump hour. It has a little cockpit, they call it, with the time. Not the most legible watch. This wouldn't be your only watch. I really don't even care about legibility all that much, and I would not have this as my only watch for sure. I just think it's a little tough to read if you're relying on the time. But in terms of cool factor and just having something that people are going to talk about, having a conversation starter, it's pretty rad. I wear it on the orange rubber strap. Perfect Halloween watch. I actually did wear it on Halloween. So I will try and get this in more. I think if I was looking to move a piece, this would be the first casualty. These are long sold out, this one in particular. And as cool as it looks, though, I'm just not sure it's, carved a spot in my collection, a long-term spot. Now, I think I want to wear it more than 8 times. So I think I'm going to give this watch, now that the football season's just about over, I'm going to give this watch a chance, a fair chance. I'm going to give it like a week or 2 straight, I think. And you know what? If it doesn't do much for me and I'm looking to buy something else, I think this, might be sacrificial in helping pay for another watch. But yes, the Space Hour brand is something I've wanted to experience for a long, long time. They have 3 great models right now, and the Tellurium and the World Timer. And yeah, I would love to check out a Tellurium one of these days as well. But yes, the Space One Destro carbon fiber. Yeah, the crown is actually, it's meant to wear on the right wrist, but I still wear it on the left. I'm not going to wear it on the right wrist. And then the other one is kind of a novelty watch that I picked up a little bit ago, actually. I bought 4 as gifts, the Far and Swit Kill Count digital watch. I bought 4 with the intention of giving them all away. But then I actually found something else for the 4th friend, which allowed me to keep one for myself. I don't really count it. It was $70, It's kind of like G-Shocks don't count. I don't think the Far and Swit really counts either. I only wore it 3 times. But it's a fun digital watch. Looks like a Casio A168, but the packaging, I talked about it a little bit ago. The packaging is the real star, meant to emulate like a VHS horror movie box. And the actual like inner packaging that the watch is in is a VHS tape, essentially. And it has all kinds of throwbacks to video stores. And it says, please be kind, rewind. Just a super cool packaging. And the people I got them for universally loved this watch. One of my friends was actually on IMDb looking for Kill Count, because on the box, it describes a movie that Far and Swit just totally made up, released in 1985, called Kill Count. My friend was on IMDb trying to find information about Kill Count, and then he finally realized it's not a real movie. But these cheaper, Casio A168 type digital watches, the bracelets aren't great. They are arm hair pinchers, right? And my friend said he's not used to wearing a watch. He doesn't really wear a watch much. But he loves this so much. He said, it pinches my arm hair, but I think I'm going to shave my wrist right there so I can wear it. That's how much he loved the watch. So it really warms my heart as a watch geek who, I don't know, I knew he probably wouldn't wear it, but it's more of a display type thing because the box and packaging is so cool. But it warms my heart that he's actually going to go out of his way to make it comfortable on his wrist. So I thought that was really neat. But yeah, that's my state of the collection right now. I have some other odds and ends that I wear occasionally that were given to me. But out of the watches that I've spent money on, these are the ones I wear regularly. And this wrist track app is super cool, and I highly recommend. I believe it is on Android. Well, I have it on Android. I believe it is on Apple iOS as well. So yeah, check it out. I think you'll really enjoy the feedback it gives you in terms of what you wear. In terms of the podcast now, I released an episode on January 1st, 2025, completely quitting, saying I was done. I had a change of heart around June. And counting this one, I believe 21 episodes were released in 2025. Actually, 22, if you count the one I released on January 1st. I deleted that episode because I thought it might be a little confusing. You listen to one where I'm basically signing off forever on the podcast, and then there's 20 episodes that follow it. Doesn't make a lot of sense. It's kind of like a band who does a farewell tour, and then they come back. Looking at you, Motley Crue. Many artists have done it. I think Ozzy did his No More Tours tour in 92, and he did several after that. So that was kind of me having my farewell tour and then completely going back on my word. But no, it's been a year that I've been revitalized when it comes to the podcast. I love doing it. I love meeting new friends, talking to old friends through the podcast, having guests on. Of course, Keith and Dirk and my friend Jeremy and Pete McConville and others. My wife came on this year, which was super cool. So yeah, I'm going to keep on pressing on here in 2026, hopefully giving you one just about every week. The day may not be the same, but I'm going to try real hard. And if I miss a week, again, not going to beat myself up on it, but I'm going to try. It might be a Monday, it might be a Thursday, it might be a Friday, it might be a Sunday. But my promise is every week on the calendar, you will get an episode. I don't know if it's a promise so much as a hope. No New Year's resolutions or anything. But all right, so I just real quick wanted to talk about the most downloaded episode. I'm not going to give you numbers or anything, but the most downloaded episode in terms of podcast like that is consumed in a podcast app, whether it be Apple, Spotify. A lot of people listen on like Amazon or Audible, the Audible app. People listen on there. I can see where everybody's listening. So that's really neat. Was actually a non-watch episode, really. It was the unsponsored product review I did on the Oura Ring. That is far and away the most downloaded episode. Which I guess leads to two conclusions. One, there are watch enthusiasts who are looking for a smart option, maybe just for health-related benefits. And I think the Oura Ring does that. They don't want a double wrist, or they don't want to wear a Garmin or an Apple Watch and take away from wearing their mechanical watches, which makes total sense. Which I think the Oura Ring's a great option for, because there's no screen. It's a ring, you just wear it. And you can check all the stats on your phone. Since there is no screen, I am way less obsessed with my step count and all of those numbers now, but I still wear it. I like to have that information. Sleep is very valuable information, and it calculates that on there, which I really enjoy. But yeah, so that's the first thing. And then second, I think people just really like to consume reviews that they know are completely unsponsored. That's the big takeaway, because far and away the number one most downloaded episode by almost double. So I think people are looking for reviews they can trust. I bought that with my own money. I have no reason to BS you or make you think one way or another. It was generally positive. I've had generally a positive experience with the Oura Ring. But I'm not going to be afraid to tell you that I didn't like something. And I think people like that. So I'm going to do more of those. Some watch stuff. If I get a new watch, I'll give you an unvarnished opinion. But more products. I just bought a rather pricey winter item, and I think that will be probably in a couple weeks. I will do an unsponsored product review on that. I've had some time to live in it now, and I have thoughts, both positive and negative. So that will be my next unsponsored product review. I think people are just hungry for, honest reviews, and I know watch reviewers get watches. They can keep them. It's entertaining, but is it maybe a review I trust when I'm looking to make an informed purchase? Not sure. I know some reviewers get watches that they have to send back. I think those can be a little more trustworthy, but also you are in contact with a watch brand. That means they are paying attention to your content, which is amazing, which is really cool. But does that skew your judgment a little bit? Some will say it doesn't, but there's also human nature. Sometimes without even thinking about it, you might be a little more favorable. I don't want any of that to creep in. I was just approached by a brand not too long ago to do a review of a watch. I've heard of the brand. I've never really been interested in any of their watches, though. I politely declined. It's not really what I do. And again, it just feels wrong to me. And if you are a content creator who does this, I don't mean to offend you. I think it's amazing if that's what you want to do. Incredible that these doors are open to you, that these brands reach out to you, and you get to experience these watches. I think that's amazing. It just doesn't feel right to me, even if I had to send it back. And they didn't have any strings attached. They said, we'll loan you a watch and you could send it back when you're done with it. I declined. That's not what I want the podcast to be. If I'm going to review something, I want it to be something I bought with my own money, and then I can be completely honest about it and not have anyone's other interests in mind. So, yeah. And then this company actually just announced a collaboration with a YouTuber not too long ago. I'm not going to give it away. I'm not going to tell you the name of the brand. The watches seem fine. I didn't feel a certain way, either good or bad, about them. It just, no thanks. I passed. But yeah, they probably would have given me that one to review, which I guess would have kind of been fun to review. But nope, I don't feel right about it. Not going to do it. The podcast content will hopefully always stay free. I am a very fortunate person where I don't need to make money off of the podcast. It can kind of stay as my hobby. And I'm also not consistent enough. I wouldn't want people to be paying 99 cents per month or a few dollars per month to be in some Patreon or something. Because I like that as much as I want to give you weekly content, I like that I don't owe anybody anything. So if I have to take a week off, that's okay. Instead of like rushing to put something together subpar for you because you're paying me to. I like that freedom and that pressure to not have anybody. Of course, we want our favorite content creators to be consistent. And when I took a little break last month, October to November, and I heard from people like, missing the podcast. Hope you're okay. That means a lot to me. But that's less pressure on me because I'm not asking anybody for money. Now, maybe that'll change someday. Maybe my situation will change and it would be a way to at least pay for the podcast because this costs money. I don't make any money doing this, but it costs money. The hosting site, a new microphone if I need it, that stuff's not cheap. I'm very fortunate where I don't need to supplement my income to make that happen right now. But, if it does change and I do one day, we'll cross that bridge. But yeah, so that's just a little overview. Oh, I also wanted to touch on the most viewed YouTube version of the podcast. It was not the Oura Ring. It was actually the episode I did with my wife about the Tudor BB54. Now, people only watched the first few minutes of it. On average, I think people were like, oh, this isn't a video on the BB54 Lagoon Blue, because I think people were searching for that watch and content. There weren't many videos on it at the time. So I think that's what got people in the door. They searched it, and then my podcast came up. But, I only get a handful of views on YouTube because it's really not interesting. You can just listen to it on a lot of people don't have YouTube Premium. And the only benefit is having your screen off and listening to it because there's nothing to see. There's no video component. It's just my static logo. So it makes sense that people don't consume it on the YouTube app. But yeah, I usually get 10 to 20 views on YouTube for a regular podcast. I got 400 on the BB54 Lagoon Blue episode I did with my wife. So I thought that was interesting. But again, people did not stick it out. That's for sure. Plans for 2026 on YouTube. I'm not really a video guy. I do have a GoPro Hero 13 that I bought to take some video of the dogs at the farm. I don't know. I'm more of a podcast guy. I'm not sure I'm going to do anything with video outside of maybe a short. I did that G-Shock short early in 2025, and I still get comments on it regularly comparing two G-Shocks 20-second short. has like 130,000 views. Yeah, almost a year old now, and I still get regular comments on it every week, which is neat. So maybe more shorts, but outside of that, I don't think I'll do any long form videos. So, yep, that is really just the state of the collection and the year in the world of the Watchdog podcast. Can't wait for 2026. So I think I'm going to hold off on my watch plans until the next episode. And I think Keith and I are going to do that. We're going to talk about everything we're hoping to see in 2026. And I'm sure we'll get to our personal watch goals in that as well. But yep, just wanted to wrap up 2025. Thank you for welcoming the podcast back, sticking by me, even though I'm not always consistent. You are all the best. And yeah, means a lot to me. Like I've said a bunch in this episode, I'm a very lucky guy. So be safe on New Year's Eve. Make good decisions. And remember, sometimes you're the dog, sometimes you're the hydrant, but hey, at least you're outside. We'll catch you on the next episode of the Watchdog podcast. See you later.